let's get into Twitter files.
Boy.
Let's freaking do it. There's a lot here. It's not just Taibbi. There's also Barry Weiss, who I'm not a fan of, but I didn't want to put her picture. I could have put Elon there too and gotten some more clickbait. But this was the legendary drop on December 2nd. It's going to be history. I mean, really. Matt,
what do you mean?
Look,
I heard it was a big nothing burger.
Well, it's a nothing burger that's gotten 378,000 likes on the platform and over 130,000 retweets. And this was cropped the other day, and I'm sure there's even more now. But I found a thread reader so that we don't have to read it clogged with all the different to see exactly how much action and whatever. I'm gonna give some notes and some flair on this, but I just want to kind of get through it and explain what this is. So I work a corporate job in my real life, so I have some visibility into some of this stuff, into what these Slack conversations are, and I have a little bit of context that I might be able to provide, and I want to just show what Matt's talking about and give my perspective. If you watch Primo Radical, I love what Primo Radical, his take on this has been so good as well. And I think that you're going to find that it's pretty similar to what both Matt.
What you're about to read is the first installment a series based upon.
Oh my God, that was great.
Thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter.
Primo Robot. That was brilliant, by the way. That was absolute brilliance. So, Twitter Files tells an incredible story from inside of one of the largest and most influential social media platforms. It's a Frankenstein tale of a human being mechanism grown out of the control of its designer. Pretty cool, right? And then it skips a bunch of stuff, and I'm only going to go to the most important ones. I'm not reading through this whole thing because it'd take forever. But the key is that both parties had access to these tools to censor and to request blocks and to request reviews. For instance, in 2020, requests from both Trump White House and Biden campaign were received and honored. Very important here. Campaign requests from White House were honored. This was not a complete one-sided thing. Now, it definitely was slanted. However, it was not complete. And he's saying here the system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts. And because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly set by shit libs, I'll say it. All right. And how much? Well, here's just how much. 96 to 99% of the individual contributions in 2018, 2020, and 2022 from the employees of Twitter went to Democrats. So we're not even talking like just a little bit of bias here. We're talking blind hatred, and you could kind of see from their tweets publicly and from their internal discussions, they were no fan of Trump administration, people who worked at Twitter. So, Twitter Files Part 1, how and why Twitter blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story is really the key of the first drop.
Well, obviously, it's because it's Russian maldisinformation.
So what happened? I think we all know, but on October 14th, 2020, New York Post published the Biden secret emails, an expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. And what happened next? Haley McEnany, Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links, posted warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via DMs, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases, e.g. child pornography. White House spokesman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who said at least pretend to care for the next 20 days because they were literally 20 days out from the election. And here's the email.
It seems like one of those names that Bart would get, like, the bartender to say.
No, that's Mike Hunt. You know? That's Hunt. His last name is Hunt.
Oh.
Mike. First name Michael. Last name Hunt. Goes by Mike.
That's Mike Hahn.
Yes,
Mike Hahn.
Yes. All right. And what's really amazing is you're literally seeing like the email addresses that this is the raw stuff. They don't normally look. Twitter, government, and politics. And again, you're getting a guy who worked directly with the Trump campaign. So what it says here is all she did was cite the story and firsthand reporting that's been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. I need an answer immediately on how she'll be
Okay.
unlocked, right? And not wrong. These guys are now playing who gets to say and decide what. This is another key thing. Everybody is saying that the FBI somehow was involved, but according to evidence that Matt's seen, there is no evidence of any government involvement in the Hunter Biden laptop story and censoring it.
You say that, but I have a clip of Joe Rogan talking to another social media giant in Zuckerberg.
Yes.
That the FBI did come to him and ask him not to put that out because they said it was Russian information.
Yes.
So, I mean, we also get to talk about, like...
Vijaya, watch your mouth. This is a family show.
Well, yeah, exactly, because now we're...
Just say
because
pussy.
Vijaya...
Just go ahead and say it.
Pussy.
No, Vijaya. Vijaya Gotti was the legal policy and trust, all right? And this was made without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey censoring the Hunter Biden laptop. All right?
But how does he not know?
Because he was running...
I know Vanessa did a whole thing on him.
I'll tell you how. Well, first of all, he also was running Square/Block at the time. You know, that's another Fortune 500 company. He's a dual CEO.
Yes. Dual CEO.
Right.
Which means he's dual evil.
Well, no, yes, but what it means is that he's relying on the other C-level executives to really run the company because he's a public face. He's more an evangelist than the day-to-day operations control of the company. He's a chairman/CEO. It's a title. But you can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gotti and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. We know a lot more about Yoel Roth now, and it's not great. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. Yep. So now they're starting to have into
Romero.
They're starting to panic a little bit, Roth. Right? And then even in one humorous exchange on day one, Ro Khanna, we know Ro Khanna, he reaches out to Gotti, and why? Because Ro Khanna is Silicon Valley's congressman. So he's basically calling on behalf of... Thanks. He's calling on behalf of Congress and on behalf of himself because he's the only one who's even remotely plugged into this that has any idea. But I guarantee that someone with the campaign got on the phone and said, this is your district. Find out what the hell's going on here. So Roe reaches out to Gotti to gently suggest she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democratic official I could find in the files who expressed concern at all. And he did it, by the way, from his own personal Gmail account. See that? Anyway, Khanna tries to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment, mention of which is generally hard to find in the files. Guys, by the way, I'm not doxing him. This is public. This is published already on Twitter. I'm just grabbing this right off Twitter. And that's the thing. And we're going to talk, and Matt talks about why he published it on Twitter. That was part of the conditions of doing this. So
he's talking to
Vijaya.
Yeah, Vijaya is the chief legal counsel. So he offers just wanted to offer my 2 cents. Please keep this communication just between us and Jack. No need to CC the team or forward them. You mean he's got one way of legislating when it comes to the C level and one way of talking when it comes to everybody else?
Like a private policy and public one.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I saw. Yeah, a little bit. Then we skip down and we get to Net Choice. Net Choice is like a nanny thing that they hired to monitor speech and stuff. So Net Choice lets Twitter know that a bloodbath awaits in upcoming Hill hearings. They're also gathering sentiment because they're measuring what's happening with different Congress people. Members saying it's a tipping point, complaining tech has grown so big that they can't even regulate themselves, so government may need to intervene. So every Republican said it's a tipping point. Both Democrats and Republicans were angry. Of course they were. This is over the Hunter Biden leaks. Right? Yep. The censoring of the Hunter Biden story, which some people say could have or did swing the election. I have questions. 20 days out, I don't know. I don't think that Hunter has anything, affects it, whatever. But that it's totally open to interpretation, and we're going to get to all that. Sabo reports to Twitter
Mhm.
that some Hill figures are characterizing the laptop story as tech access Hollywood moment, right? So we got one more from the Twitter files continued. First Amendment isn't absolute. This is the last entry that he had on the thread for the night. And then he had some supplemental stuff to add, which I'll have. But he said the Democrats complain that companies are inept, right? So this is coming from inside Twitter. Democrats were in agreement.
Inside the house.
Right? Inside the house. Social media needs to moderate more because they're corrupting democracy and making all truth relative. When pushed on how the government might insist on that, consistent with the First Amendment, they demurred, the First Amendment isn't absolute. Wait, what? Yeah.
It's like what Musk said. Freedom of speech isn't freedom of reach.
An amazing subplot.
What?
Right. That was good. Was how much this was done without the knowledge of Jack Dorsey and how long it took for the situation to get unfucked, as one employee put it even after he jumped in. While reviewing Gaddy's emails, I saw a familiar name, my own Matt Taibbi did, because Dorsey sent her a copy of his Substack article blasting the incident. A little bit of an ego stroke to Matt, but he earned it. So that was on the 2nd, I believe, of December. He drops that at night, and it's thread journalism. He's dropping it one tweet at a time, and everybody's kind of hanging like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? And then we're like, huh? So 4 days later, we get this in the middle of the afternoon.
Captain's log.
Captain's log. Supplemental. Yes. So this was Tuesday. That on Friday, the first installment was published here. We expected to publish more over the weekend. Many wonder why there's a delay. We can tell you why. Because this guy named Jim Baker was fired on Tuesday. Among the reasons, vetting the first batch of Twitter files without the knowledge of new management. Wait, what? Yeah. Barry Weiss.
In other news, Jim Candlestick Maker.
My jaw hit the floor.
Been promoted.
Well, Fox has been allowed to investigate Henhouse effectively, is what you're talking about here. So what happened? Baker's a controversial figure. He's been something of a zealot of FBI controversies dating back to 2016, from the Steele dossier to the Alpha server mess. He resigned in 2018 after an investigation into leaks into the press. The news that Baker was reviewing the Twitter files surprised everyone involved, to say the least. New Twitter chief Elon Musk acted quickly to exit Baker on Tuesday. And then they had to go through, did he delete anything? What did he do? What does he know? What did he copy to the... Now, he worked for the FBI for years and years and years, apparently. So that was a whole other mess that came out. So that was on Tuesday.